Today we're taking on a challenge of creating 8 Pokemon from the same description. I've been lucky enough to combine forces with the 3 amazing artists, Fruipy, Umbreon Libris and Mr. Bonnie John. We have made one of these videos each, meaning 32 unique Fakemon, so definitely go check out their videos after this one. The description for this video was as followed: glorious fighter, it takes pride in taking down its foe. Well, time to give the word to Bonnie.
Spoiler alert, my design here isn't a fighting type. Double spoiler alert, none of my designs for this set will feature the actual fighting type. If that's not enticing enough for you, then I'll just say this. The eventual transformation for our little guy will be bright. Speaking of which, the little guy is an archetype that makes for a great base as far as a character arc. Nervous expression, weak pose, and lack of confidence means we're dealing with a Pokemon that's going to need a serious training arc, or some sort of help, to become the glorious fighter. Whatever could I be aiming for with this one? Kindullarva live in colonies that seem to function much like our own, featuring a lively assortment of many bug-type Pokemon. They're almost identical as far as their apprehensive personalities. The lights on their tail are often troublesome for them, bringing them unwanted attention as they'd rather scurry to and fro and stay away from the spotlight. On occasion, a Kindullarva with a quirky nature is born whose light seems to burn brighter than others.
Okay, so backstory with the Kindullarva. Let's go.
I guess I'll give you guys kind of their backstory now. So Kindullarva are adorable little guys who run around in their own little cities and colonies that always keep their head down. They never want to participate in fights and or battles or anything that causes commotion. They're quite anxious, and it might be because there's a light growing in them that they're afraid to respond to. You know, I mean, good character development just comes from training arcs, and so eventually our boy will evolve into, first you have the larvae and then a cocoon. As Kindullarva is based on a firefly, it made sense to develop out a line that would comprise of 3 stages, and hopefully this middle stage form can give you the big punchline for my approach. These designs should read stoic even if there's hardly anything going on here. At the very least, the large visor appears almost like a window for whatever's forming inside. Watching, waiting, and preparing to become the glorious fighter. Quirky-natured Kindullarva evolves into Henshine, a creature that seems to glow and pulsate an absurd amount of energy even in their dormant state. Although they are unable to express too much emotion, their burning sense to deliver justice can be felt emanating from their light, which glow brighter and hotter when they detect dark thoughts and intention. They watch and wait before they unleash their true potential with their quirky ability, Danger to Ranger.
Oh, yes. I know what this is. Okay.
Now, this is a straight homage to my childhood, probably everybody's childhood here on some capacity, both our artists here as well as our audience. Maybe, just maybe.
I see why the shiny is green.
Gotta be green. If it's not red, which it is for the base, it's gotta be green. And this is to everyone who wants to say in the comments, Bonnie, you made too strong of a Pokemon. Damn it, it's Glorious Fighter. He's powerful, he's cool. I don't know anything about battling, okay? I just have to draw them.
It's allowed.
So, exactly. Let's take a look at Henshine's ability. So this is how I figured I could circumvent the 3 designs in one and maybe not do a true evolution, but as you can see, Henshine's ability is Danger to Ranger, a nod to, of course, Zero to Hero. The Pokemon transforms into its Ranger form when it takes a blow that would normally KO it. So we started with a normal bug who's now kind of moved towards a fairy bug. So what happens when you knock out Henshine? When a Henshine reaches 0 HP in a battle, it breaks out of its cocoon, dazzling as a beacon of light to all those in need of hope and manifests into a new state dubbed the Ranger form, colloquially known as Senshine. This Pokemon's fists grow fiery hot with passion in the presence of evil to administer justice to those who dare disturb peace in their presence. They amass so much heat in their fists and feet that enemies receive a scorching burn in the shape of a star from swings of their arms and legs, even at a distance. And that is, to me, the definition of a glorious fighter.
100%. Very well done. But like,
I love it. Yeah.
What is it? Like a Power Ranger, or have I not seen it?
So there is a whole genre called Sentai that have characters across, like the spectrum of like Power Ranger type characters, like, and many of them have like bug motifs, right?
Kamen Rider.
Stuff like that. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and Kamen Rider was already made into or was part of the inspiration for Halakinix, for example.
Yes, exactly. And so most people who know me, know that I love bug type Pokemon because they resemble in real life Pokemon that go through a physical transformation. Like, seriously, it's insane that like larvae can go into cocoons and then emerge with wings, and like it's so beautiful, it's so cool. And so to me, to tell this story, it felt like a bug would be the best bet. It pays homage to its roots. That's my quote-unquote 2-stage line with a form change for number 3.
That's fine, man. Like, go ahead, please do more of these. I love it.
This is probably the first ever Fakemon that I am retracting as a Fakemon. I'm absolutely developing this as like a cartoon series or something. It's coming to a TV near you. Netflix deal on the way. Stay tuned.
Nah, yeah, you used it in my video. I have all the copywriting now. It's mine. I'm going to make a TV series now. No, man, I can't wait to see it.
I'm in my Firefly fists upon you.
Oh, it's very cool.
I decided to base my design on the Mesoamerican ball game and Mayan mythology. In particular, I looked at the Mayan hero twins who defeat the lords of the underworld through the ball game. The myth is more complex than that, but I'll leave that for you to look up if you want to. Many characters in Mayan mythology are or have elements of jaguars, including one of the hero twins, so this is a jaguar who plays the Mayan ball game. The ball game is primarily played with the hips as well as the arms and thighs in some variations, so it has protections there, and I also took inspiration from the way modern ball players dress. This is Pokolix. This is where my mind went. I made a jaguar that has a lot of the elements of it are based on like the garments and the headgear that are worn by ball game players, including modern ones that are like trying to revitalize the sport. They have protections. The sport is mostly played with your hip. You just you hit the ball with your hip. There's some depending on the particular variation, you might be able to use your thigh or your arms. And so this one, it has protections there because that's how it plays. But I realized that this does not look like a first stage Pokemon. When I finished that first design, I realized it did not look like a first stage Pokemon and that I couldn't easily make it a first stage without dropping a lot of the design elements that were important to me. So I quickly designed a pre-evolution, just a simple jaguar cub with some rocky padding on its back and tail. This is Bakulix.
Oh, it's cute. Oh my god, that's shiny. I can already tell this line is going to be like, if this would be real, this would be 100% of my team. I don't know if you keep it humanoid. I hope you keep it humanoid for the final stage, because I love humanoid Pokemon. But even if you don't, this concept looks so awesome. It would 100% be in my favorite Pokemon list, for sure.
Well, that's promising.
Yeah, for sure.
So this is now Pokolix, the promising Pokemon.
Nice.
It has gained the fighting type, because it's... the first one is just a jaguar with some rock elements on it. It's fairly simple. This one is actually an athlete, and so that kind of preparedness gives it the fighting type. It favors its right side for both offense and defense. Repeated impacts cause an unbreakable protective layer to form. This Pokemon is unfazed by any challenges it faces. It displays unlimited potential.
Awesome.
I love the little paw print on the chest of dots. That's just a really nice touch.
Thank you. It is a little bit of a paw print. It's also based on jaguar spots, and it is more subtle, but it's also got a little bit of a skull thing going on.
Okay, yeah, I can see that.
And that's because of this connection of the twins that defeated the lords of the underworld. At the end of the myth, the hero twins not only defeat the lords of the underworld, they ascend to become the sun and the moon. The ball game itself, even nowadays in modern revitalizations of the sport, is essentially reenacting this myth. For this final stage, I wanted it to look, well, glorious, regal and powerful, with the rocky padding upgraded to golden armor, and still taking inspiration from the garments of ballgame players as well as traditional Mayan kings and warriors. Here is Halakinix.
Wow. Wow, 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 wow.
What the hell? They flip colors.
That's bringing the steel type is really nice for the gold.
Is this a nod to the story too?
They do a lot of things in the underworld, so it was partially that, and also partially just it's a melanistic jaguar. It just looks cool. So this is Halakinix, the mythic Pokemon fighting and steel type now. With its fiery spirit, Halakinix can conquer death itself. Nobody knows the limit of its power. This Pokemon is revered as a legendary hero. Ball games that can last many weeks are played in its honor. Participants may die at these rituals.
The rendering is so crazy. The gold is so beautiful, and the pose, it really looks like he defeated the Lord of the Underworld. Like his chin being a little bit upwards. Oh, it's so good. It's so good.
Also, it's a nice and lore-wise, like well-justified asymmetrical design.
Yes, I was gonna say that exactly. Specifically referencing the side for sure. Now, are these like mythical Pokemon or like higher standing kind of creatures, or because it reads, obviously very like regal and shiny, very shiny.
It's a pseudo-legendary.
There you go, makes sense.
So, the first stage evolves at level 30, the second stage evolves at level 60,
60
and the final stage has the 600 base stat. But because it is supposed to be a mythic hero, I did give it the even 100 across the board spread that is the same stats that like Mew has. At one point, this was going to be a cricket, okay?
Looks like one.
Yeah. But eventually I got to this, and I'm very proud of it.
Okay, I wanted this to really evoke a military leader, with players from the Mexican Revolution in mind, like Diaz, Madero, and Huerta. So I made sure to bring in all of their like ostentatious medals, their like epaulets and aiguillettes and stuff. But as I wanted this to also be like a bulky steel type, I pulled in a conquistador helmet and that like general silhouette. Even if a conquistador isn't a perfect parallel for the second design, but overall, I'm happy with this big shuffling suit of armor ready to just like punch you in the butt.
And he's Conquerta from like Huerta, because he's kind of the biggest jerk of the Mexican Revolution. But yeah, he's a big lumbering brute, and he kind of has like an innate desire to rule over others and just have power. I probably could have slapped the dark type on this, but I need to embrace monotypes a little bit more. So he's just staying mono steel. And yeah, he's covered in metal plates. He's big and bulky. Yeah, he's a big bulky jerk.
I want to hate it because of the inspo, but like how you for like what's a very solid shape. Like maybe it's the rendering style, even the expression, like the gold and silver somehow really work together. Like I'm impressed.
Yeah, it's very cool.
The expression is fantastic.
It does look very mean. Like you're really good at expressions. Like
yeah, it's built up in a way as well. Like we're looking, you've drew it in such a way that we're looking at it from under the Pokemon. Sort of like Gigantamax who do that as well, just looking up at the Pokemon, which really sells the overlooking and ruling aspect of the Pokemon, which is very cool.
Now this is the one I was really excited for, something that really embodies the Mexican Revolution. In particular, this is a combination of Emiliano Zapata and Pancho Villa. And I'll be leaning into that like Robin Hood-esque persona that they both had. I almost went with a psychic typing just because of their like tactical prowess and the like revolutionary land reform ideas that Zapata put forward, but a dark typing just fit a little bit better, and I love dark types, so whatever. Oh, and I went with this eagle inspiration and the color palette to pay homage to the Mexican flag.
I took Emiliano Zapata and Pancho Villa. Via and combine them into Zapacho. He is our little revolutionary Pokemon.
Does it turn around a lot?
He does what?
Does he turn around a lot? Just the way that you emphasized revolutionary, I thought it was spinning around.
Oh, I mean, he probably dances pretty good. So he does get the dark type.
Oh,
so
he's
look,
a dark type.
And then on top of that, I'm pulling in like both of the. Well, again, a lot of his Panchavia, but you know, he always had this like belt of like bullets like all over his things. That's kind of the feathers.
What a clever way to
Yeah.
incorporate
So
that.
cool.
That is
So
so
smart, man. Jesus.
And then he's an eagle, just from the kind of iconography of the Mexican flag, and the colors as well, Mexican flag. So I hope, as a half Mexican myself, this comes off as like respectful and not like problematic and stereotypical, but like it really does come from a good place.
I think it looks awesome. The crest supposed to be sombrero, right?
Yeah, exactly. Mhm.
Yeah, like you got the flag colors in there. The pose is yet another banger pose. Got the spurs I see on the back. There's just a lot of fun detailing going around.
Oh no, yeah, I had to get the spurs in just because, like Pancho Villa, he was called like the Centaur of the North because he was so like deadly on horseback. Like he's almost always pictured on a horse. And I almost went like a horse route, but the eagles.
It's sort of like a crane bird, right? Sort of.
Kind of like an eagle, but also
Yeah, roadrunner types.
exactly. I lived in New Mexico for quite a while, and their national bird is I love roadrunners. Like they're so cool. They're so cool. So yeah, there's a little bit of that.
Yeah, like this would be my favorite Pokemon. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Libres. This
The immediate betrayal.
It's so cool. Like a crane. For me, I see a crane bird because I was debating to do like Kung Fu Panda style a creature. So I was debating like Shen, like the peacock, and I was debating doing a crane, literally the 5. I don't know, the Dragon 5 or something like that. So I instantly saw this as a crane bird or something like that, and that is so cool. We really need that as a Pokemon. So Pokemon, please watch. Please watch the video.
I really appreciate how these two, like, even though they are counterparts, they don't really look alike in any way. Like, they are very, very different. You have the, like, big, hulking, probably, like, very slow one, and then you have the one that seems like it's really fast and would be, like, zipping around. They don't look like they would be part of the same environment or anything like that, and so you can really imagine, like, in whatever situation it is that they come together, they're not going to get along.
For this prompt, my mind immediately moved towards Kha'Zix and Rengar from League of Legends. A more widely known combination might be Alien vs Predator, because these duos are very similar to one another. My goal was to make an alien-like creature facing off against a wild beast that would take glory and pride in taking down the other to become the best hunter in the galaxy. I did want to make sure they weren't going to look too similar, so that's why I made this one look a lot faster. Rhinog, the Blade Dancer Pokemon. This Pokemon is a fierce hunter, but doesn't fight without honor. It will let his foe stand up if it slipped, because you won't know if you're the best if you can't fight them fairly.
I really like the kind of energy arms. But is there a reason for it in lore?
Not necessarily. I thought it would be cool. At first I had disconnected the head as well. I eventually put a neck in between her to keep the design a bit more together. But because it was an alien, I thought it would be cool to do something with those translucent arms. Because if I would have connected them, the design would have lacked color. And this would make it instantly look more as a robot or like an alien, something that you don't really see in nature. And that is what I tried to convey with those arms.
With the name Rhinog, right? It's meant to be a rhino, and then instead of one horn, it's just a massive multiple horns, right?
Yeah, and Rhinog comes from rhino and hedgehog. So it's a combination between rhino, since it does look like a hedgehog and it's a rhino as well. So that is why it's called Rhinog.
I was thinking cog because there's kind of a circular motif the way they're arranged, and it could.
Yeah, that as well.
Yeah.
Totally,
It's
throw that at them.
as a cog. Yeah.
I like the silhouette. So both the silhouette and the color palette a little bit remind me of Midnight Form Lycanroc.
Oh yeah.
And so I get that vibe, but like the disconnected stuff, again, it feels alien. That works. Yeah, I'm digging it.
For this piece, I wanted to make him look like a beast, but I did still want to capture some unearthly feeling for it as well. I tried to do so by combining a bunch of different real-life animals, like a gorilla, a boar, and a bat for example. Since I wanted to have a unique look for both of these, this one had to look bulky and strong. Porkoar, the bounty hunter Pokemon. This Pokemon has been discovered deep in the jungle. It appears to have the strength to pull entire trees out of the ground, using them as cover to ambush their prey. Once defeated, they add another marking to their body as trophy. The more marks this Pokemon has, the more hunts it has finished successfully.
Okay, I gotta say, the last thing I would have ever expected me personally to do was to leave our planet to find this concept, but that is true. Alien versus Predator I think that whole story, I use the word story loosely for aliens versus Predator. They're killing each other, that's the story, and they look cool doing it. But the idea of that is that, like, the Predators are hunting for conquest. So, when I was looking at the first guy, and you're, like, saying, like, oh, let's see his, like, rival, I'm like, what? Like, I have no idea what it could be because, like, I don't have context of these alien worlds. But then now I can really appreciate that first, like, futuristic design when I see something very, like, I don't want to say primordial looking, but it looks beastly. It looks like, organic in the sense of wherever it came from. This is probably a creature that swings through the tree. Well, maybe not swings, maybe lumbers through the jungle or something, and then they're at such odds visually that, yeah, they would probably be fighting. So I gotta give kudos that for your own prompt, like, you're like, forget what's going on here, I'm gonna go out there. And so that, like, that first design really hits a lot harder now that I see the second one. For sure.
Yeah, I needed to have a contrast between the two. Like, I did have a lot of, I don't know if you've noticed, but I've practiced quite a bit of, like, doing some prehistoric forms and some futuristic forms of certain Pokemon.
Now I know it's all practice for this.
Yeah, I made around 100 Paradox Pokemon so far, so I try to balance them out by making them completely opposite, like one futuristic and one indeed sort of primal form of a Pokemon. That clashes immediately.
I've never, I don't know almost anything about Alien or Predator. I think I've seen the original Alien movie, but I have not seen any Predator movies, and I have not seen any Alien versus Predator. So I don't know very much of like what you're drawing from. But the second one, what was it saying?
Porkoar.
I love it. Like the big, like, hulking look of it. Again, I guess I just like that kind of Pokemon. I love the red fur on the back that it, I think I'm reading it as fur, but I see that it's a fire type, so maybe it's...
It is fur, but that is what sells him as a fire type. Like I said before, we each made our own video, so go check out theirs right now. And yeah, show them how lovely our community is. Goodbye!